Hi, my name is Jasmine Grolton, and this is my design process for Assessment 2 of Image Design and Production. My chosen album for this assessment was Bright Future by Adrian Linker. I first began my design process by listening to the entire album as well as looking at past covers which the artist has used. Looking at her last 3 albums, it was pretty evident that she used a lot of photography in her covers. Next, I did some research into who Adrian Linker is as an artist and a person to get an understanding of the context which this album was written under. It was very evident after that growing up in the Midwest was something which heavily influenced the album and her instrumentals. Overall, her music is very tied to her past struggles and traumas in her life, which makes the entire album very relatable and emotional. I then researched a bit about the genre of indie folk and found some examples such as Hosier, The Lumineers, and Mumford & Sons, which all had album covers which caught my eye. Each cover is tied to collage-style artwork and amateur photography, which heavily inspired my final piece. I then outlined what underlying themes were in the album, which could influence the design of the album cover. I discovered that soft colours would be best for this project, as the album is very calm, and again I wanted to tie in Midwest themes to portray Adrian's childhood, as well as keep the visual noise to a minimal. I then developed 3 possible ideas which could potentially be the base for my final design work. I ended up choosing the first idea, which I changed slightly to match my skill set. My lack of skill on certain design processes is also what led me to leaning away from other album designs that I created because I believe I would not do them justice. This is my final design piece for the front and back, which consists of a collage of photos which I have taken mixed with a few photos which I found on Pinterest. The inside of the cover was kept very minimal, but still has visuals which were used on the front and back to create visual symmetry across the entire design. This is what I decided on for the vinyl middle, which I believe complements the cover design and also includes the recurring theme of stars. The poster I created was simply a recollage of all the images used on the album cover, just rearranged to fit the A3 format of a poster, and using the stars as dot points. All of these pieces portrayed the vibe in the album as well as ties in with the Midwest theme into a soft colour palette. The use of photography mixes realism with abstract style to create a perfect medium between the two. The process of creating these pieces started with choosing photos which complemented each other and would work well together to create the image I had envisioned. I then removed certain pieces of the images using Adobe Photoshop and then layered those pieces together on InDesign. To top it off, I then added text to the top left corner to keep it minimal but add that little touch I felt was missing. I did the same process on the back of removing certain bits of the photo and collaging them together to create a collage starry sky with each star representing a song on the album. The inside of the album took the key focal points of the covers and collaged them over top of the artist's name to create a visually interesting inside that draws the viewer's attention to the name of the singer. And lastly, my process for the poster was very similar for the rest of the designs, but just reformatting the collage to fit an A3 poster size. I also reconfigured the stars to list the song names in order, which made it easier to read. I also moved the cacti over to the right to keep visual interest and fill that blank space which would have felt empty without it otherwise. And that concludes my design process for this assessment. I did have a few references which I have listed, and thank you for watching.